Ladies, let's be real. How many times have you found yourself asking, why do men put in so little effort? You give your all, you show up, you communicate, you love hard, and yet you're met with inconsistency, bare minimum effort, and excuses. It's frustrating, right? Well, let's get into the truth. Because men don't just give minimal effort. For no reason, there's a method to the madness. And once you understand why, you'll stop wasting your time on the wrong men and start receiving the love and effort you truly deserve. When a man is truly interested in you, his actions will reflect his feelings without confusion or hesitation. He will make an effort to be present, communicate consistently, and prioritize you in his life. There won't be any need for you to guess where you stand or constantly question his level of interest, because a man who genuinely wants you will make sure you know it through his actions. A man's nature is to pursue what he truly desires. When something matters to him, whether it's his career, his goals, or a personal passion, he will dedicate time, energy, and focus to it. The same principle applies in relationships. When he sees you as valuable and wants to build something real, he won't hesitate to put in effort. You won't have to beg for his time, attention, or affection. He will call, text, and make plans without you having to remind him, because you are important to him. On the other hand, when a man is not showing up for you in the way you deserve, that is a sign that his interest is not as strong as you might hope. If he is inconsistent, sometimes present and affectionate, other times distant and unresponsive, it means you are not a priority in his life. No matter how many excuses he gives, whether it's being busy, stressed, or overwhelmed, the truth is that people make time for what they truly want. If he had the same level of interest in you as you do in him, there wouldn't be any doubt about where you stand. Many women fall into the trap of making excuses for a man's lack of effort, believing that if they are patient or prove their worth, he will eventually step up. However, that is rarely the case. A man who is unsure about you will not suddenly become certain because you continue to overextend yourself for him. The effort and commitment have to come from him willingly, not because you force or beg for it. A man who truly wants you will not let distractions, personal struggles, or any other circumstances keep him from showing up. He will make time, he will communicate, and he will invest in the relationship because he values you. You won't have to initiate every conversation, plan every date, or wonder if he's thinking about you, because his actions will make it clear. Consistency is key, and a man who is serious about you will be just that consistent. His words and actions will align, and he will make sure you feel secure in the connection. There won't be games, mixed signals, or confusion. Instead, there will be effort, intention, and clarity in the way he treats you. Men will only do what they can get away with. If a man realizes he can put in the least amount of effort and still receive all the benefits of your time, love, and attention, he has no reason to do more. This is human nature, people. Naturally take the easiest route when they know it will still get them what they want. If you continue to give your all to a man who barely lifts a finger for you, he will assume that his bare minimum is enough. In relationships, standards are everything. The way you allow a man to treat you sets the tone for how he will continue to show up. If you accept inconsistency, late replies, canceled plans, or one-sided effort, he will not feel the need to change. Why would he? If he still gets your love, attention, and commitment, a man will only rise to the level of effort that is required of him. When he realizes that you will tolerate less, he will not feel motivated to give more. Many women make the mistake of trying to prove their worth by doing more, by being extra patient, extra understanding, and constantly giving in the hopes that he will see their value and reciprocate. But that approach backfires. Instead of inspiring him to step up, it teaches him that he can do the least and still keep you around. He begins to assume that you will always be available no matter how he treats you. The more effort you give without requiring it in return, the more he will take advantage of the situation. Men respect what they have to work for. When a man is serious about you, he will naturally put in the effort to keep you because he values you. He will plan dates, communicate consistently, and make sure you feel secure in the relationship. But if he sees that he can have you without putting in that work, he will not suddenly change and become more committed. He will remain in the comfort zone you allow. A man's behavior in a relationship is a direct reflection of what you accept and what you require. If you continue to give love, time, and energy to someone who does not match that effort, he will see no reason to change. The only time a man will truly step up is when he realizes that he must, or he will lose you. This is why setting boundaries and maintaining standards is essential. You cannot convince a man to treat you better, but you can refuse to tolerate anything less than what you deserve. When a man is emotionally unavailable, he is incapable of giving more than the bare minimum in a relationship. It's not necessarily because he doesn't care or isn't attracted to you, but because he lacks the emotional capacity to truly invest. He may show up inconsistently, express feelings one day and withdraw the next, or give just enough effort to keep you around without ever fully committing. This type of man is not emotionally present. And no matter how much you try to connect with him, he will always keep a wall up. Emotional unavailability can come from many places past trauma, heartbreak, childhood wounds, or simply a fear of vulnerability. Some men have been hurt before and have never properly healed, so they keep their emotions locked away to avoid getting hurt again. Others have never learned how to form deep emotional connections, so they operate on the surface level, only giving enough to maintain casual relationships, but never enough to build something real. Regardless of the reason, the result is the same: minimal effort and a lack of emotional depth. One of the biggest signs of emotional unavailability is inconsistency. One moment, he may act interested, text frequently, and make you feel special. Then, out of nowhere, he pulls away, becomes distant, or stops communicating altogether. This hot and cold behavior isn't a coincidence, it's a defense mechanism. He gives just enough to keep you from leaving, but never enough to create true emotional intimacy. He may not even realize he's doing it, but his actions reflect his internal struggle. Another major sign is avoidance. An emotionally unavailable man will dodge deep conversations, refuse to define the relationship, and avoid discussing the future. If you try to address problems or express your needs, he may dismiss them, change the subject, or make you feel like you're asking for too much. This is because emotional investment feels overwhelming to him. Instead of working through emotions, he shuts down, keeping you at arm's length. It's easy to believe that if you're patient enough, loving enough, or understanding enough, he will eventually open up and change. But the truth is, emotional unavailability isn't something you can fix. A man has to recognize it within himself and be willing to do the work to heal. No matter how much effort you put in, you cannot force someone to give more than they are capable of. If a man is not emotionally ready, he will always hold back, no matter how much you try to love him through it. When a man is not investing in you, it usually means he is investing his time, energy, and effort elsewhere. This doesn't always mean another woman, although that is a possibility. Can also mean he is prioritizing his career, personal goals, social life, or even just his own comfort over building a meaningful connection with you. The hard truth is that when a man truly values something, he makes time for it. If he is not making time for you, it's because his focus is elsewhere. Many women find themselves in situations where they feel like they are waiting for a man to step up. They make excuses for his lack of effort, telling themselves that he is just busy, stressed, or dealing with personal issues. While these factors may be real, they don't stop a man who genuinely wants a relationship from showing up for the woman he cares about. A man who is committed to you will still find ways to check in, make plans, and ensure you feel secure in his life, even if he has other responsibilities. One of the biggest red flags is when a man becomes inconsistent. If he was once calling, texting, and making an effort, but suddenly starts pulling away, it's usually because his attention is divided. He may be exploring other options, still emotionally attached to an ex, or simply unsure about what he wants. Instead of being honest, he keeps you around with just enough effort to keep you from leaving while his real focus is elsewhere. Another sign is that you feel like you're competing for his time. You always have to be the one to reach out, make plans, and initiate conversations. He is never fully present. And when he does show up, it feels like he's just going through the motions. If you express your concerns, he downplays them or makes you feel like you're overreacting. This is because his emotional investment is already being spent elsewhere, and he doesn't feel the need to do more. Sometimes a man may not even realize that he is spreading himself too thin. He may not intentionally be trying to neglect you, but the reality is that you are not his priority. When a man values something, he naturally prioritizes it. He won't need to be reminded, convinced, or pushed to make an effort. His actions will reflect his level of commitment. And if he is truly invested in you, there will be no doubt about where you stand. Ladies, I need you to hear me on this. Minimal effort is not something you should tolerate. A man who truly wants you, respects you, and values you will show up for you. He won't leave you guessing, begging, or feeling unworthy. So, if you're dealing with a man who's giving you the bare minimum, ask yourself, is this what I deserve? And if the answer is no, then it's time to walk away and make space for a man who will give you everything you desire and more. Because the truth is, love should never feel like a struggle. And when a man wants you, he'll make sure you know it.